This is Lupa, the she-wolf of Retaliation. Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. I'm Stylosa. In this video we're going to take a look at everything which points towards the new hero in Overwatch 2. This is Hero 45. Firstly, look at this. There is a weapon charm in the game. Well, it's called the Lupa charm and it's unlockable through one of the challenges. The next thing we need to take a look at is this. It is the poster. This is now quite infamous, but it is the poster from the arena map, and I think we can add a little bit more flavor to this. Firstly, we can obviously see the silhouette and the weapon of the hero in question. We know she's going to use a rather large sword. However, the text at the bottom reads as such: La Lupa della Retaliation, the she-wolf of Retaliation. Also of note is the XLV. These, of course, are Roman numerals. The V is highlighted. This could potentially indicate the actual name of the hero, which, if you want to believe the leaks, could possibly be Vendetta. Now, this is taken from a stream the audio developers of Overwatch 2 did a while back, and they actually said, check this out, it is a sound effect which is going to be used for an upcoming hero. But we can actually link this directly to Lupa. This is Miranda. Now, in the recent developer update, well, she gets abducted, but listen to the sound effect.
I am so unbelievably excited for her. She is so...
Yeah, that is exactly the same sound as the, the sound the developer was teasing. I love those kind of little Easter eggs. So I think we might be able to connect that to the sword, which, I mean, to me, that sounds like some sort of energy kind of vibrating sword. But I guess we can speculate on that in a moment. This is the Lupa mask. Now, this is available in the Masquerade Halloween game mode. Now, you can't select Lupa, so you obviously cannot spawn this in your spawn for other players to collect and use as their mask to get the benefits from said mask. Instead, this is a special one. It's on basically in the middle of every point on every map that you can play the mode on. And obviously you can pick this up and you can see what it does. It's melee and ability damage increase, movement and attack speed. The she-wolf watches. Now this obviously alludes to, well, the new hero Lupa, but to her kit as well. Melee and ability damage increase. We're probably going to be looking at a melee exclusive hero here, and this opens the floodgates as to, could this be a tank or could this be a DPS? Now, I don't know what this is. I would say she's probably a tank simply because it's going to be quite difficult to do a melee only DPS in the world of Overwatch, because you're kind of going to have to make them tanky or give them outrageous mobility to let them get into position to do damage. Everybody else, I mean, you could say, like, well, nobody else is melee. I was going to use Genji as an example, which is kind of stupid because Genji's not melee. But what I'm trying to say is you need a ranged component to the heroes to make them viable if they're DPS. However, with tanks, it's a bit easier because you can make them tankier because they're a tank. You know what I'm saying? So I think she's a tank based off this. But what about Lupa or Vengeance or She-Wolf, whatever you want to call this hero? What about her place in the lore? You need to listen to this because this is the development of the Overwatch story being pushed forward. I think we need to forget now about Invasion and all of the older Overwatch 2 lore. This is the beginning here, and check this out, because I'm pretty sure what's happening is, well, Lupa is leading some sort of an assault onto Talon, which may result in possibly quite a lot of damage being done to Talon. So check this out.
You asked me to join you once before. Even if I choose differently now, believe all you've said. I cannot pretend your allies did not murder our master. Would that I had your counsel years ago. Talon has proved lacking as an ally. They are mired in greed, betrayal, lust for power. It will be their downfall. And I fear Talon's problems may soon become the world's problems. Then we must seek peace. There can be no peace with humanity. Come with me. I will keep us all safe. Until the flames from their pointless struggle die, along with their misbegotten civilization. Then our people can return and rise anew. Reborn. I cannot abandon our people or humanity. There is still good in this world, Ramatra. And it is worth fighting for. It gladdens me that the world has not dimmed your spirit. Someday, I hope you will understand my choices. And our paths will be joined again. We once dreamt of peace together. Know that I carry our dream with me wherever I go. I always have. As do I, brother.
So what about these leaks? Now remember, take the leaks with a giant pinch of salt. This is almost effectively completely hearsay, but I think we just need to go over it because it might tie into the story that you guys have just witnessed in the Reconciliation Ramatra animated comic. Now, there is potential, again, this is a complete leak, it's total speculation, who knows if this is true or not, but that this new hero comes on board and then ends up cutting off Doomfist's arm, takes over Talon, and then sends Talon on a full-scale invasion of the Overwatch headquarters. Now, if that's true, that could kickstart a new story arc for the game in which the current development team and the current narrative team are going to push that forward. But you know what? We've actually got some details here with the devs and what they're doing, and that Lupa, or Hero 45, is going to take a major role in the story going forward. The assistant game director, Alec Dawson, conducted an interview with esports.gg, and this is what he said. The narrative viewer is coming in Season 19. It kind of comprised of what's to come within the Overwatch story. This is something we've talked about it quite a bit. We're going to be leaning into that quite a bit in the near future. We can't talk about all the details yet, but the new hero will play quite a role in that story as well. So we're really excited to see pretty soon players' reaction to that and all the plans that we have for the near future. So let's jump back over to Miranda, the narrative lead on Overwatch 2. And this is from the developer update, and she's talking about the new in-game lore system. So you can see this is all being set up to propel the story forward. I actually think this is great. I've wanted this in the game literally since the game came out. It was always perplexing to me that the lore, I mean, I even said this to the lead developers at the time, guys, why don't you have the lore in the game? What's this about? You know, why is it all external? We need to start adding this into the game. It's kind of funny because I mean the entire development team has effectively changed, bar a few key figures over that period. But essentially, you know, it's almost 10 years ago now since Overwatch launched, and finally they're adding lore into the game. But I think this is good because what this means is you'll be able to read through the story as it is and catch up. It's all in one place, it's all consolidated, and this gives them a springboard, a foundation, a platform to push the story forward. So Hero 45, what do I think it will be? Now, I think she's a tank hero. She's melee only. She's got some type of energy or vibrating sword which possibly heats up as she uses it. She'll have some sort of connection to a wolf, I think, simply because of her name. I think her appearance will look quite feral, quite like gladiatorial in the kind of way that she's involved in combat. I think we're going to see basically another tank hero, and I think the game probably does need another tank hero. I'm going to be a bit disappointed if she's a DPS hero, because I think it's going to be very hard to make a DPS melee only hero work in Overwatch, because I think in my mind you either have to make them tanky, which kind of turns them into a tank, or give them such like absolutely ridiculous movement abilities that they kind of become like, you know, they'd be terrible to play against if they were moving around super fast. So I don't know. I think it's a tank. you guys let me know what you think she could be in the comments below. But I think there is also something else going on here. Now, the actual Masquerade game mode itself, this is very interesting to me because we know the developers like to test systems in the game before they fully add them to the game, right? So they like these limited time modes where they can test little features, they can add little bits and pieces. Like, do you remember Junkrat's stuff from last year, which kind of, I guess you could say, made it into the game? Things like Stadium and selectable powers and all of that stuff. Now, what about the Masquerade mode? Now, what interests me the most about this is some of the powers that you get have bonuses that only function when there's a certain hero on your team. And that's very similar to Marvel Rivals in the sense of the hero team-ups, where obviously if you've got a certain hero on your team, you get a bonus. The difference here with the Masquerade system is you can get a bonus anyway from heroes that simply are not your, I guess, team-up partner. So I think Mercy gives you like 20% extra health if you're a tank. Well, just it gives you it in general. If you pick the mask up, let's say, you don't have to be a tank, I don't think. But then she's got her own specific connection to, I think it's to Reaper. Don't quote me on that. I can't quite remember. But what you can see is this sort of layered system, I think, they're starting to develop, which is you've got your team-ups, but then you can also just use a mask anyway. Or, let's say, use a bonus from a hero anyway. Now, this could be something coming to the core game mode. They have said there's going to be another big shake-up at the start of the year, and of course, we've gone through a lot of that already when we look back at the history of Overwatch 2, especially over the last year or so. And I think, obviously, with the addition of perks, it's been a massive game changer in a lot of ways, and a big risk, really, but it did change the game, the core game. I do think perks has got some... I think it's overall, it's a net positive, but what I've noticed is, and I mean, don't like take my word as gospel on this. I haven't really been involved in Overwatch enough to comment on this with like maximum authority, let's say. But it does seem to me like instead of addressing certain balance problems with certain heroes, they just change the perks. They go, oh, we'll just change the perk. Now you can see perks obviously are another balance tuning knob that they've got. Instead of just looking at raw stats, you know, changing the hero's damage or ability power levels or cooldowns or whatever. They can now do things like, oh, well, we'll just add a new perk because that'll change a hero in a certain way. I guess there's an argument to be made that perks are becoming the sort of go-to. I will say what I'm finding quite funny at the moment is when I get patch notes and I look at patch notes, it's just perks. It's like tons and tons of perk changes and then pages of stadium changes. Like, holy hell, a lot of stuff going on. Anyway, let's wrap the video up at that. I think this is going to be very interesting. I actually can't wait to play this hero. I think she's... it's been a while since I've been like really anticipating a new Overwatch hero. Some of the more recent ones have not really clicked for me. Some of them have, but not all of them. But it kind of feels, I'm going to say this, and I mean this in the most sincerest way possible, but this sort of feels like an old Overwatch 1 hero launch. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. I've been Stylosa. If you enjoyed that, then yeah, do subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. See you soon.